He is the ultimate supervillain, the dark Messiah, the son of Satan himself. He rises from the world of politics, a figure of intoxicating charm, a silver-tongued orator who promises peace to a world weary of war. He unites the globe under a single government, solves the world's problems, and is hailed as a savior. But then, the mask drops. He reveals his true nature, seating himself in a rebuilt temple, demanding that all of humanity worship him. He institutes a global economic system, the mark of the beast, where no one can buy or sell without showing their allegiance. His number is 666. This is the Antichrist. This story, made famous by blockbuster movies like The Omen and the 80 million copy-selling Left Behind series, is one of the most powerful and terrifying narratives in the Western world. For hundreds of millions of people, this is not a fictional story. It is a literal, biblical prophecy, a preview of events that are about to unfold at any moment. But what if I told you that this character, the one we all know so well, is a theological Frankenmonster? What if I told you that the word Antichrist never appears in the book of Revelation, that the number 666 is not his number, and that the character we all fear is actually a composite figure? A kitbash of at least 3 different people from 3 different parts of the Bible, all fused together by centuries of theological speculation and, most of all, by a Hollywood movie. Today, we are going to decode the Antichrist, separate the pop culture from the prophecy, and uncover how one of the most misunderstood words in the Bible became a Hollywood supervillain. Let's start with the most basic and most shocking fact. The word Antichrist. Where does it actually come from? If you guessed the book of Revelation, you're wrong. The word Antichrist in Greek, appears in only one place in the entire Bible, the short pastoral letters of John, specifically 1 John and 2 John. And when you read how John actually uses the word, it becomes clear he's not talking about a single future global dictator at all. He's talking about something very different. In 1 John chapter 2, he writes, "Children, it is the last hour. And as you have heard that Antichrist is coming, so now many Antichrists have come. Who is the liar? It is whoever denies that Jesus is the Christ. Such a person is the Antichrist, denying the Father and the Son." Let's break this down. 1 John says there are many Antichrists, not one. Second, he says they have already come. He's not talking about a future figure. He's talking about a present-day problem in his own first-century community. For John, an Antichrist wasn't a political leader. It was a theological term. It was a label he gave to anyone, specifically former Christians, who were spreading a heretical doctrine. In this case, it was likely an early form of Gnosticism, which denied that Jesus was truly the Christ who had come in the flesh. So, for the only author in the Bible who actually uses the word, Antichrist is not a who, it's a what. It's a job description for a heretic. It's not a single, terrifying supervillain. It's anyone who denies the core message of Christianity. The prefix anti in Greek could mean both against and instead of. So an Antichrist was someone who was against Christ or tried to put something instead of Christ. This is a massive disconnect from our pop culture image. So, if the Antichrist isn't the guy from Revelation, who is? This brings us to part 2 of our puzzle, the beast and the number 666. Almost every element we associate with the Antichrist, the global government, the mark, the number 666, comes from the book of Revelation, chapter 13. But the author, also named John, though likely a different John, never calls this figure the Antichrist. He calls him the beast. Technically, there are two beasts in Revelation 13, one from the sea and one from the earth, but they work together. So who is this beast? To understand Revelation, we have to understand what it is. It is not a 21st century timeline of future events. It is a first century piece of apocalyptic literature. This was a popular genre of protest, especially among persecuted groups like early Christians and Jews. It was a letter written in a complex symbolic code to 7 real churches in Asia Minor, modern-day Turkey, that were suffering intense local persecution under the Roman Empire. The book's message wasn't, "Here is what will happen in 2000 years." The message was, "Stay strong, your suffering is seen, God is still in control, and this evil, oppressive Roman Empire that seems all-powerful will fall. Justice is coming." The beast, in this context, is a clear symbol for the Roman Empire itself, and specifically for the figure of the emperor who demanded to be worshipped as a god. The text is full of clues. The 7 heads of the beast, as the text itself explains later, Reb 17:9, are the 7 hills on which the woman sits, a clear reference to the 7 hills of Rome. The beast, therefore, is the living embodiment of Rome's demonic, idolatrous power, a power that forced Christians to choose between worshipping Caesar and worshipping Christ. And what about the infamous number 666? Revelation 13:18 gives us a direct clue. This calls for wisdom. Let the person who has insight calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. That number is 666. This is a first century riddle, and the answer lies in a common ancient practice called gematria, where letters in an alphabet are assigned numerical values. The author was writing to a persecuted audience in a coded language that they would understand, but his Roman oppressors would not. And for centuries, the most accepted scholarly solution to this riddle points to one man, Emperor Nero, Caesar. In Hebrew and Aramaic languages, the original audience would have known. The name Nero Caesar is written Nronqsr. When you take those Hebrew letters and add up their numerical values, what do you get? Nun equals 50, Resh equals 200, Vo5, representing the O sound equals 6, Nun. Final form often omitted in calculation but present equals 50 Qkof. Samadingan Saratus summer, representing Caesar equals 60, Resh equals 200, total equals 666. Nero was the first emperor to systematically persecute Christians. He was a man of profound cruelty who, according to Roman historians, murdered his own mother and wife and possibly set fire to Rome itself, blaming the Christians for it. For the first century church suffering under Roman rule, he was the literal beast, the man whose number symbolized the ultimate evil of the Roman state. Some ancient manuscripts even have the number as 616, which is the value if you spell Nero's name slightly differently in Hebrew, further reinforcing the Nero connection. So, the Antichrist is a first century heretic, and the beast is a first century Roman emperor. How in the world did these two separate figures become one guy? The Bible has a few other mysterious, evil figures who seem to oppose God's plan in the end times. In his second letter to the Thessalonians, the Apostle Paul warns of a future man of lawlessness, sometimes called the son of perdition. This figure will perform counterfeit miracles, deceive many, and eventually sit in God's temple and proclaim himself to be God before being overthrown by Christ's return. The Old Testament book of Daniel, written during a time of intense persecution under the Greek king Antiochus IV Epiphanes, has visions of a little horn, a boastful, arrogant king who persecutes the faithful, speaks against God, and tries to change sacred times and laws. Faced with this collection of different villains, Jan's Antichrist heretics, Paul's man of lawlessness, Daniel's horn, and Revelation's beast, early church fathers, theologians writing in the centuries after the New Testament did what any good storyteller or systematizer would do. They tried to synthesize them. They streamlined the narrative. Figures like Irenaeus in the 2nd century and Hippolytus in the 3rd century argued that surely all these different descriptions must all be pointing to the same single ultimate enemy of God who would appear at the end of history. And so the composite character was born. He got his name, Antichrist, from the letters of John. He got his job description sitting in the temple, deceiving people from Paul. He got his political power, his connection to Rome or a revived Rome, and his number 666 from Revelation. And he got his arrogant personality from Daniel. This composite Antichrist became a popular figure in medieval theology and art. During the Protestant Reformation, leaders like Martin Luther famously identified the Pope as the Antichrist, not necessarily a single man, but the institution of the papacy, which they saw as having usurped Christ's authority. This composite figure was well established in Christian thought, but the final transformation, the one that created the specific political son of Satan, supervillain we know today, was a modern and distinctly American invention. Required a future 7-year period of tribulation, ushered in by a peace treaty with Israel, and ruled by a charming European political leader, the Antichrist. This theology was popularized in the hugely influential Scofield Reference Bible, published 1909, which mapped out this entire timeline in its footnotes, presenting it as the authoritative interpretation of prophecy. This system was popular in churches, but it hit the mainstream in the 1970s, a decade filled with anxiety, the Cold War, the oil crisis, the perceived moral decay, and the rise of the European Economic Community. In 1970, Hal Lindsey's book, The Late Great Planet Earth, took Darby's timeline and mapped it directly onto current events. It sold tens of millions of copies, convincing a generation that the Antichrist wasn't just a theological concept, but was likely a living politician. Probably in Europe, maybe Henry Kissinger, maybe someone else, ready to make his move. But it was 1976 that sealed the deal. A horror movie called The Omen was released. The movie took all this complex theology and turned it into a terrifying, visceral, and incredibly simple story. The Antichrist wasn't just a political figure. He was Damien, the literal son of Satan, born of a jackal, secretly adopted by a powerful American ambassador destined for the White House. The movie gave us the 666 birthmark, the mysterious accidents eliminating his rivals, and the chilling face of pure evil lurking behind a child's innocent eyes. The Omen did for the Antichrist what Jaws did for sharks. It turned a complex theological concept into a visceral, instantly recognizable pop culture monster. It permanently fused the political beast figure with the idea of a literal demonic offspring. This image was then solidified and given its final political form by the left. Behind book series in the 1990s, authors Tim LaHaye and Jerry B. Jenkins gave us the ultimate modern Antichrist, Nicolae Carpathia, a charming, brilliant, manipulative Romanian politician who becomes Secretary General of the UN and promises world peace. He was the perfect synthesis of Darby's dispensationalist theology and the Omen's sinister charisma. The character was complete. So, the Antichrist we all know from pop culture is not a single biblical figure. He is a theological greatest hits album, a composite creation. He has the name of a first-century heretic from the letters of John. He has the number and political power of a first-century Roman emperor from the book of Revelation. He has the job description of a future rebel from the letters of Paul. He has the arrogant personality of a Hellenistic king from the book of Daniel. And he has the backstory, face, and marketing of a Hollywood horror movie. And this brings us to the final, crucial debate. What is the Antichrist, really? Is it, as dispensationalism teaches, a literal, single individual who is yet to come? A specific political figure for whom we should be scanning the headlines? Is it a powerful and timeless metaphor, a symbol for any person, government, ideology, or institution, be it ancient Rome or any other empire, including potentially our own, that opposes God, persecutes the faithful, demands ultimate allegiance, and sets itself up in place of or against Christ? Or is the entire concept a historical and theological mistake, a case of mistaken identity, where different figures from different contexts were sloppily combined over the centuries, creating a terrifying boogeyman that has caused far more fear, division, and conspiracy theories than it has provided faith or understanding? Let me know what you think this powerful concept means, respectfully, in the comments below. What purpose does the idea of the Antichrist serve today? If you found this deep dive into the evolution of a supervillain fascinating, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content that decodes the history of our beliefs. Thanks for watching.